Hello and welcome to Comp 1000 instructional video 28C. We have covered about 2/3 of the Excel Unit C project steps in the two previous videos, 28A and 28B, and now we're going to complete the final 5 or 6 steps of the Excel Unit C project by covering Format Painter, hiding a column. We're going to check spelling. We've already done that in Word and in some previous Excel work. We're going to change the color of the tabs that designate the different worksheets that are in the workbook. We're going to copy one of those tabs and all of its related contents. And we're going to create a new blank worksheet and a tab that goes along with that blank worksheet in our workbook. And then we're going to move those tabs around. In other words, we're going to reshuffle the order of those tabs in our workbook. Remember that a workbook can have multiple worksheets, and the worksheets are designated at the bottom of your screen. With the screen that we have up right now, we see that we have 3 worksheets, one called documentation, one called follow-up, and another called survey. Okay, so let's get started. You see that we have the file that where we left off at the end of video 28B. Now we're going to use Format Painter. You will use Format Painter in step 15 of your Excel Unit C project. What Format Painter does, let's say that we wanted to, and this is not what you'll do in your project, but just for illustration purposes, let's say that we wanted row 8 to look just like row 10. Well, instead of having to click in row 8 and find that color and put in that border and change the font and all that, what you can do is you can actually just copy this entire the way it looks. So you're not copying the contents. In other words, if I copied the format of everything from A10 over here to G10, that's not what we're going to do in our project, but I just wanted to show you this for illustrative purposes. I'm not copying the word total or the number 237 or 202 or 133 and so on. I'm copying how they look. So a quick way to copy how something looks and make another area of your worksheet look like that is to do this. We are going to copy from A3 to H3, and notice when I do that, remember that A3 through H3 has been merged and centered. It's all one big cell now. So if I want to make what I want to do is I want to make A13 through H13 look just like A3 through H3. So how would I do this? I click on A3 through H3. You first click on the cell or cells that look like you want your target cells to look like. Okay, so I'm going to want A13 through H13 to look like A3 through H3. So I have to click on A3 through H3 first. And then right up here I click on Format Painter. And notice that I have these blinking lines around here, and then in addition to my cursor there's a little paintbrush there. So all I do is I click in A13 and it changes it to look just like A3 through H3, A13 through H13. That is Format Painter. One more time to show you. I'm going to back up here. Okay, I want A3 through H3. I want how that looks to be painted over A13 through H13. So I clicked in there, I click on Format Painter, and then I click here, and it changes it to look just like that. You'll do Format Painter in step 15. Now let's hide a column. Perhaps there's a column of information that you really don't want to take up space or to show up every time. Maybe you don't want for it to clutter up your workbook or something. Well, if I want to hide a column of data, all I need to do is select the data. So I'm going to select column G here by left clicking directly on the letter G. Don't click down here. Click right up here on the letter G. And then I right click. I follow it up with a right click, and down here I see hide. And see it's not gone. It didn't erase it. And we know it didn't erase it because my letter, the sequence of my letters goes A, B, C, D, E, F, H. So G is still in here. Now what if I want to unhide that? I simply get my cursor right there. See where it looks like 2 different arrows, two different lines and arrows pointing in opposite directions? I would simply get there and right click and come down here and left click on unhide, and see it brings back G. Well, your project, your Excel C project wants you in step 16 to hide G. So we're going to, remember, we click on G, then we right click and we come down here and we left click on hide. Now let's check spelling. That's something that we've done in other activities, but let's check spelling. And we always check spelling in the review tab up here at the top of your screen. So I left click on review and I left click on spelling. And it tells me I'm good to go. And obviously, in fact, I'm going to change a word here simply so that we will see what happens. I'm going to change quality. I'm going to get rid of the I. Okay. Now let's do spell check again. Review, I click on review and I click spelling, and you see that, well, it found friendliness. That's what we want it to spell like, so I'm going to change that. Taste, down here in A16, I must have clicked on something in error earlier. Here's the correct spelling of taste, so I click on change. And it goes back to my quality right there. See, I left out the I. Well, it tells me the correct spelling of quality is here, so I click on change. Now it tells me I'm through. Okay, you will check the spelling in step 17 of your Excel Unit C project. Now, let's deal with these tabs at the bottom. Our last 4 steps in Excel Unit C project is the tabs down here. In step 18, they want you to change the color of the survey tab. Right now, this tab is white, that tab is white, that tab is white. The letters are green in all of them, but the background color is what we're going to change. So I'm going to click on survey, then I right click, and there it says tab color. About the 4th one from the bottom says tab color. Let's choose standard blue. Well, there's standard colors, there's blue, so I click on standard blue. And right at first you think, oh, it didn't do it, but let's click on one of the other tabs, and now you see that the background for survey is blue. Okay, you'll change the tab color of your workbook in Excel Unit C Step 18. Now let's create a copy not only of this tab follow-up, so I'm going to click on it, but I'm going to create a copy here of everything that's in here as well. So how do I copy? Well, again, I left click on the tab that I want to copy. And when I say tab, I'm also meaning everything that goes along with this tab, all this information up here. And then I right click on it, and I go up here to where it says move or copy, and I left click. Okay, so let me do all that again. I left clicked on follow up, then I right clicked, and then I left click on move or copy. And then I have to decide which one do I want to copy. I want to copy follow up, so I left click on follow up. I left click down here where it says create a copy, and I click OK. And notice it created a second copy of everything. Look, all this data is here. If I click on the original follow-up, all that data is still there. Okay. You will create a copy of a current worksheet in the workbook in step 19. But we're not totally through with step 19 in Excel C project. It wants us to get rid of, to delete the original follow-up. Not only the tab, but everything in there. So I'm going to click on that tab to make sure I've selected it. Yep. Then I right click, and I go up here and I left click on delete. And I'm going to get a message that's asking me, are you sure you want to do this? So when I left click on delete, it says, are you sure you want to do this? And I do, so I left click on delete. Now we have documentation, our copy of our follow-up. We know it's the copy because it has the 2 here in parentheses, and then survey. You'll delete a worksheet as the second part of step 19 of the Excel Unit C project. Now let's create a blank worksheet. Okay, so we have 3 worksheets in this workbook. We want to create a blank one. Well, that's what this little plus symbol is down here. I click on it, and look, it creates a sheet. Blank. Whoops, excuse me, sorry about that. There's nothing in this worksheet. Okay, so it's a blank, brand new worksheet. It wants us to rename that worksheet. How do we rename it? Well, we click on it, then we right click, and about the 3rd one down says rename, so I left click on it. And notice that my worksheet name, sheet 2, has a gray shading. I just hit backspace to get rid of it, and let's change that to sheet 1 with no space between sheet and 1. Yeah, so now we've renamed our new worksheet, sheet 1. You will create a blank worksheet and you will rename it in step 20 of your Excel Unit C project. And the last thing we want to do is, maybe I don't like the order of these worksheets. They don't make sense to me for some reason, okay? So I want to move follow-up so that it is after the survey sheet, okay? I'm going to want my tabs to go documentation, then survey, then follow-up 2, then sheet 1. That's the order I want them to be in. Well, before I do this, I want you to notice that in a moment I'm going to click and hold on follow-up 2, okay? And when I do, there's going to be a little black arrow, a down pointing arrow, just to the left of that tab. I am going to click and hold and drag to the right, and watch how that little arrow follows me. Once that arrow is over here, right on the other side of survey, I'm going to release my left mouse button and it'll drop that tab there. So let's do this. I click and hold. See the little black arrow? I don't want it there. I want it there. And I release. Okay, one more time. I don't think I'm going to put it back where it was. Okay. It started out looking like this: documentation, follow-up 2, survey, sheet 1. What I want it to be is documentation, then everything in the survey sheet, then everything in the follow-up 2, then everything in sheet 1. So I'm going to move follow-up 2 to the right-hand side of survey. I click and hold on follow-up 2. I drag to the right until my little arrow is to the right of survey, and I release. And now I have my tabs and the information related to those tabs in the correct order. That completes the 3 videos, 28A, 28B, and 28C, that cover all of the steps related to the Excel Unit C project. Thank you for your attention.